Welcome back to the universe of power. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power universe. In episode 6, we saw a few things come together in place, while other things seemed to be falling apart very quickly. In season 3, so far it seems like Kanan is the only one in the Thomas family that has been leveling up at a rapid pace, while Rock, Lou, and Marvin have been dealing with multiple problems from many different directions. In episode 6, we finally got to see Famous break the news to Kanan about Rock being the one who set him up by placing the gun in his backpack. While I originally thought that this would have led to Kanan taking Famous out, we only saw Kanan kick him out of his own apartment. I believe that Kanan has not fully stepped into being the ruthless person that he was in adulthood just yet, which is why I feel like he let Famous off easy. But more on that later on in the video. Now to the ongoing never-ending theories surrounding Ronnie Mathis. Recently the synopsis came out for episode 10, leading some to believe that Rock and Kanan will be aiming to take out Ronnie. But if we take a look at every episode synopsis prior to watching each episode, it's easy to see that the synopsis is sometimes misleading after watching how things play out in each episode. The way things are worded are specifically meant to throw off the audience. If you notice, it says that Detective Howard is trying to evade the task force, and then it follows up with Ronnie going on the attack. I believe that Rock has to make a fateful choice by taking the fall for Sal's death in order to save Marvin from going to prison. And Kanan has to make a fateful decision on whether or not he will take out Rock. But more on that in a second. Every episode since the first this season, we have been shown more and more evidence that ties right along with the theory of Ronnie being Breeze. But in episode 6, I believe that we were shown probably the most undeniable moment in season 3. Just as I predicted, we saw Ronnie recruit Kanan into working with him. But not only that, we saw Ronnie invite Kanan to his party where all of the major figures in the street game in Queens were present. I believe that this was a very telling moment in Kanan's story. As we all know, Kanan worked for Breeze, and Ronnie has checked almost every box within the description of what we were told about Breeze. Now with Kanan working for Ronnie, it almost seems unrealistic to think that anyone else could be Breeze at this point. There were some who thought that Ronnie was too unapproachable and unlikable to be Breeze. But in episode 6, we saw a different version of Ronnie that we haven't seen previously. We actually saw Kanan make Ronnie smile. In my opinion, Ronnie sees a lot in Kanan that he didn't see in Unique. I think that Ronnie has been impressed with how Kanan operates at that young of an age, and he sees the potential that Kanan has. And I believe that Kanan is just happy with being accepted and recognized for the work that he is putting in. With Kanan working for Ronnie, I believe that this will lead to Kanan making a name for himself. But I also believe that this will be the beginning of the end for Kanan and Jukebox's friendship. I think Jukebox will go back to Rock and tell her that Kanan is running with Ronnie and Snaps, and this could lead to Rock confronting Ronnie, which would ultimately start a war between the Thomas family and Ronnie's crew, with Kanan on Ronnie's side. I feel like Ronnie will convince Kanan that he has to take out anyone standing in his way of making money, in which both Rock and Famous are doing so. We all know the motto that the adult version of Kanan lived by. You're not a killer until you kill someone you love. And I believe that Ronnie may have been the one who taught Kanan this motto. Famous has been more of a liability for Kanan this season, and with Ronnie now into the picture, I believe that Kanan will be pressured into taking out his former best friend in Famous, most likely in the final episode of this season. But on the other hand, I also believe that history may be repeating itself yet again. Just like how Kanan planted the seeds in Tariq's head about Ghost, I believe that we will see Ronnie do the exact same thing with Kanan about Rock. I think we could see Ronnie tell Kanan that Rock is getting in the way of business, and I could also see Kanan venting to Ronnie about Rock setting him up at school. I think the finale will come down to Kanan making the decision on whether or not he should take out Rock. In my opinion, Kanan will think back to every moment that Rock held him back, and he will also think back to Rock setting him up with the gun. I think that this could be a very similar full circle type of moment, just like we saw with Tariq and Ghost, right before he pulled the trigger. which is why I think the title of episode 10 is Made You Look. Because people are not expecting Kanan to take out Rock, they are expecting Kanan to take out Ronnie. I also think that the cliffhanger could be Rock surviving and leaving Queens. I wouldn't be surprised if Symphony makes an appearance in the final episode. Also, I still wouldn't rule out Ronnie taking out Paul. How many more times will Paul confront Kanan before Ronnie has to step in? I think that the next time Paul does confront Kanan, Ronnie will be present, and I don't think that it will end well for him. I could see Ronnie forcing Famous to take out Paul in order to get his apartment back. On a side note, I think that episode 7 will be one of the final nails in the coffin for determining whether or not Ronnie is Breeze. In the pictures for episode 7 that got released recently, we can see Ronnie eating the same cereal he always eats while watching something on TV. Could Ronnie be watching Jeopardy in this scene? I realize at this point that some will not be completely on board with the theory of Ronnie being Breeze, regardless of how much evidence or how many hints that we have gotten so far already. Just because the actor Grantham Coleman is starring in another role for another show doesn't mean that this will prevent him from staying on screen as Ronnie in Power Book 3. Actors Patina Miller and Omar Epps have been main characters since season 1, and yet they also have worked on different movies simultaneously. Not to mention actor Omari Hardwick worked on numerous films during the time he played Ghost in the original Power series. From my understanding, Power really doesn't take all that long to shoot a season. One thing to keep in mind is we don't know exactly when Power Book 3 Season 4 actually started shooting. The announcement was made the same exact time that Season 4 got renewed. We don't really know if Season 4 started shooting before the announcement was made in December. Actor Grantham Coleman could have easily shot most of his scenes for next season well before he started filming his new show. As far as the nickname Breeze is concerned, there have been other characters in Power that started out going by one name, and then later on went by a different alias. If you have watched the progress in Ronnie's character all the way until now, you will see that Ronnie has been trying to reinvent himself ever since he got home. And who says that Ronnie will be the one to give himself the nickname Breeze? We don't know what name Ronnie went by while he was in prison. I give it a 15% chance that someone else other than Ronnie will be Breeze when it's all said and done. My channel is not affiliated with stars in any type of way. I simply analyze what we are shown on screen and predict where things will go next. It's virtually impossible to not get a few predictions correct every now and then. But every episode with Ronnie just keeps adding more to the theory and speculation. While Kanan has been leveling up, things seem to be getting worse for Rock, Marvin, and Lou every episode. We learned in episode 6 that the feds have connected the dots in tying Marvin to the death of Sal. I think once Detective Howard informs Rock about this, there won't be many other options for Marvin left. Unless Rock convinces Detective Howard to pin Sal's death on Stefano. With Rock jumping back into the game this episode and using Stefano as her connect, it wouldn't make sense for her to lose this connect by pinning Sal's death on him. Which is why I really don't see how Marvin would be able to get out of this situation. There were multiple witnesses on scene when he took out Sal, and there were a number of different people that saw Marvin's face. So it wouldn't be difficult for them to identify Marvin. Not to mention whenever Gerald comes out with the article on Jukebox, I think that he could write something in that article that would not show Marvin in a good light to the public. We also saw Lou at his lowest point once again, that led to him revealing to Scrap's mother Chantel that Rock was the one who took out her son. In the pictures that got released recently for episode 7, we can see Chantel talking to Detective Howard. I think that Howard will be the one to relay the information back to Rock about Lou telling Chantel that she was the one who killed Scrap. Which I think could lead to Rock forcing Lou to take out Chantel. But even if Chantel is taken out, I think that her death will draw even more attention from the feds, and cause the attention to be turned in the direction of Detective Howard. I predict that Detective Howard will end up either being taken out by Rock in the end, or be serving prison time. How do you see things playing out for the Thomas family when it's all said and done? Will Rock take out Lou? Or will Rock once again blackmail Lou into doing something for her? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for all things within the Power Universe. See you all next time in the Universe of Power.